Spoilers ahead for Fast X. Fast X. Fast X was a sequel, alright. Is there a word for ninth sequel? Like a ninth quel? Surprisingly, this movie didn't talk about family as much as the others. It only mentioned family about like 28 times or so. In short, that's what I'm gonna preface this now. In short, this movie was like if the MCU met with The Dark Knight. So if that's what you came for, there you go. There's my review. If you want to go more in depth, then I'm going to carry on. One way that the Fast and Furious continues to add characters is to add siblings and like offsprings of people that have never been talked about before. For instance, Dante is introduced in the movie as Hernan Reyes' son, and Hernan Reyes was the Brazilian mob boss who was the main villain of Fast 5. Isabella is also introduced. You know what? I'm in a Fast and Furious mood after watching all of these movies, so I'm gonna do like a full Fast and Furious family tree. Also, in like another video. Also, prepare for me to say family a lot in this video. So, but here I'm gonna continue now. Some minor nitpicks. I feel like once you start adding more and more people into your universe, you need to start killing some off. This is a problem I think Marvel has too much of. There's just too much going on in that universe, too many people to be emotionally invested in each and every new character. And I feel like that's the same here. Let's take Cypher, for example. She was such a big baddie in the previous films, but now she's toned down so that Dante can shine. I feel like this is a common theme for these movies, is just that like the plot shapes how the person acts, and it's usually opposite of how they would act in previous movies. I also wasn't sold on the big title cards that flash. For most of the places, you could be like, oh, that's LA, or oh, that's the Rome, that's the Colosseum in Rome. I don't know, I'm not a big fan of big title cards, so that's one of the reasons why I was like, Another big criticism in these movies is how reality is tested. There are two sides that you can take when watching these movies. You can enjoy your life and watch numerous gear shifts or bombs or explosions, or you can be like me and nitpick every little detail and hate your life. But the rolling bomb scene is so stupid. It's basically Rocket League in real life. I don't understand how the ball continues its momentum after it stopped completely. Yeah, I know that the car nudged it a little bit, but it still like kept going at full speed. Throughout the movie, the people around me I audibly said, "What? Like, what is going on?" And at the beginning, I also didn't think I liked Jason Momoa as the villain. It was hard for me to think of him anything other than Aquaman. More on him in a little bit. But the dumbest thing in this movie was trying to see like 20 cars trying to capture Jacob and Dom's son. Like, to me, it was so unbelievable that like this army of cars could not stop a cannon car, which is remarkably slow compared to Dom's car. I don't understand. Now getting all the bad things away, let's talk about some things that I did like. I did like how they started the movie off with the flashback to Fast 5 from the perspective of Dante. There was no dialogue from the previous movies, instead just the footage. I also liked how they did like a meta nod to the Fast franchise, and it was like, if it defies the laws of physics and gravity, they've done it twice. It's like a cult for cars. And to me, that's the epitome of what the Fast franchise is right now. With too many characters in one movie, there have to be good A, B, C, and even D and E plots at some points. And I think this movie did it well. You had Dom carry the serious note of the Fast and Furious plot in the A plot. You had Han, Roman, Tej, Ramsey, and even Shaw at some point trying to get to the rendezvous point in the B plot. We had the C plot with Jacob and little Brian trying to escape the agency, and then even a D plot with Letty and Cypher fighting. Speaking of Jacob, John Cena was amazing in this movie. If it wasn't for Jason Momoa, John Cena would be my best thing about this movie. It was a really high point for me, and they killed him off. Just like the two viewpoints of the reality bending stunts, there are two viewpoints on the cliffhanger ending. I kind of liked it leaving it on a cliffhanger, especially if it's like a 3-part finale. Let's talk about like how everyone ended up at the end of this movie. Dom is with his son, about to be blown up. The rest of the Fast crew is on a plane that crashed. Cypher and Letty escape the facility with Giselle, who's coming back on a sub. Little Miss Nobody is en route to the hospital with Isabel. Shaw is en route to rescue his mother, and Hobbs is dragged into Dante's revenge quest. Now, let me talk about the single best thing about this movie, Jason Momoa's Dante Reyes. Oh my god. Okay, so this might be a little bit of recency bias, but he might be my favorite and the best FCU villain that we've seen. He just reminds me of so much of Heath Ledger's Joker that you could definitely tell that he took inspiration. Just outbursts of insanity and mixed in with like some dark and serious actions, that's the perfect villain in my book. Legacy, fear, and choices were all themes in this movie. The first thing that we see in the movie is Hernan Reyes getting passed down, the legacy of Hernan Reyes passed down to Dante. Then we see Dom's legacy, his charger, getting passed down to his son. We see Abuelita Toretto passing down her legacy of the family dinner to Dom and his family as well. We learn that little Brian is afraid of driving, and he thinks that Dom isn't afraid of anything. But Dom later admits that he is afraid of losing his family, of losing Brian, of losing his wife. Queenie also has an interesting line to Dom about Dom continuously running into burning buildings, and at some point it will collapse. Setting this up now leads me to believe that he'll make the sacrifice play to sacrifice himself for the good of his family in the next two movies. There were many choices made by, well, mostly Dom in this movie, but Dante's main message to Dom repeated throughout the movie was, you can't save everyone. This is reinforced by making Dom choose the lives of Isabel or Diogo. Jacob was also presented with a choice to sacrifice himself to save his family, or let Dante kidnap Brian, and you know what he chose. Oh! Forgot about this one. There was the theme of family. That was bad. Family. I don't know if that was much better, but family was said 28 times. I kept track, yes. So that's something. A quote I remember was when Dom said, without family, you've got nothing. As for the grade, I don't think it was a bad movie. I also don't think it was my favorite movie. So I'm not going to give it a high grade, but I am not going to give it a bad grade per se. I just think it really depends on how you view movies. If you like well thought out story elements, this is not the movie for you. But if you like gear shifts, explosions, punchy boom booms, this is the movie for you. All in all, I'm going to give it a 67 on the grade scale. 67 is actually in between 65, the movie 65, and Super Mario Brothers. So it would be the newest lowest movie on the list on quick views. I don't think anyone's touching everything everywhere all at once. So yeah, thanks guys for watching. Leave a like. Oh, next week for the next Quick Bits episode, it's gonna be well kind of another movie about family. But this time it's gonna be more multiverse oriented. So if you know what that means, then you know what it means. I'm not going to explain it too hard, but there you go. Thanks guys for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you guys later.